I hope this works as well. I think it worked. Ah, it worked. Technology. Hello.
Hello.
Do you guys hear and see us? Can type in the chat. I'm gonna go back in the chat. Hello, hello.
You're not even typing.
Am I not typing?
No, now you're typing.
Oh.
Yes. Okay.
Great. We're live. We're hanging out. This is fun.
All good. Okay, everyone can hear us. Awesome.
Do you remember last year? I remember last year we did a live for the very first time. It was also here in Gibraltar, and we could not get the technology to work. I think it took us 20 minutes to figure it out, and yeah, it was a bit of a disaster. Look at us now, technology masters. Hi guys. Hi. Oh, hi Lars. Hi Stylist. Many names that we. Hi LPJ. Many names that we recognize from the comment section. Oh, connection is bad. Well, I don't. I hope that it's okay enough. We're gonna try to not move too much. Unfortunately, we're not even on the Marina Wi-Fi, which are notorious to be poor. We're on my 4G. It's been working really well for the last week that we've been here, but I don't know, for some reason I'm not getting as strong of a signal as I normally do. So I hope that it will be okay. Yeah. Is a lot of people commenting that the connection is bad?
It's just a bit pixelated, but I think we rock with it.
It's okay. That way you won't see pimples on my face. So before we start hanging out, because let's face it, those live sessions, they're more a pretext to hang out with you guys because it's so much fun. We wanted to talk a little bit about what we've been up to for the last 2 months, because as you have noticed, the videos that we've been editing take place like 2 or 3 months ago, which is something that I'm going to try to get away from. I want to get back to as much real time as possible, but that's something that we're going to talk about later as well. So yeah, I wanted to talk about what we've been up to for the last 2 months.
Yeah.
Since we crossed the Med from Malta.
We did our big crossing across the Med, which was our like our shakedown sail, I would say. So we actually did our 7-day shakedown sail, and we learned a lot from that. Yeah.
Yes, sorry, I just saw a comment about you being my boy toy. Oh, and I'm losing it a little bit. Sorry, what did you say?
Well, we crossed the Med, and it was our shakedown sail.
Yes, absolutely. So after we decided that we were going to cross the Atlantic this year, we knew that we were going to have to go back to the doors of the Med, so back to Gibraltar, and we thought that this would be a great opportunity for us to try our systems on a much longer passage than we usually do. So typically, especially last year, we did a lot of 2 days, 3 days passages, and this time we wanted to go the distance and try out a few things. And yeah, I made a 1-hour video about it yesterday. I literally spent the entire week editing it.
So instead of talking lots about that, you can check out the video
after we hang out.
But yeah, so we got to Almiramar and did a few things. I would say we installed a second autopilot, a new autopilot, and left the old one in place. So now we have 2. We did some rigging work. We had the rig tuned, and then did some things with our downwind sails to kind of optimize that, since we're going to be doing a lot more downwind sailing.
Yes.
And did a bit of canvas work.
Yeah. So this is not something that we expected out of our shakedown, but we had wonderful conditions. We had the best downwind sail ever, but we also realized that we were not kitted very well for downwind sailing. So what we did was that we acquired another whisker pole, and we are going to fly our old Genoa and our newer Genoa kind of wing on wing with the whisker pole. And that is going to be our primary Atlantic setup. So pretty stoked about that. It's going to be fun. The reason we we did that is because we still don't have the budget to buy a Genecker. Those sails retail between 3,000 and 6,000 euros.
Well, that's a lot. Yeah, maybe like for our boat, like 2,000 to 3,000.
Yeah, well, it's a lot of money. But then something absolutely incredible happened. One of you guys dropped by our boat one day and was like, hey, I have an old Genecker for 40-foot sailboats. I don't really use mine anymore. Would you like it? So we get, it's an old Genecker. It's from the 90s. It's
probably from early 2000s, but yeah, it's pretty old.
It's vintage.
I think it was white. It was white at one time, and it's now brown.
But it's amazing. So we now have a Genecker on board, which unfortunately we haven't tried yet. We thought that we could try it between Almerimar.
Well, it was pretty cool because we got this Genecker, and when we got it, first off, we've never used one before, and it's a massive sail, just very light and massive, and we have no way to take it down other than us just like pulling it down with our hands. And the rigger who'd been working with us, Andy, for a few days, called me up and he said, hey, I found a sock for it. I think it will fit. And I went over to his shop, and it's almost the exact perfect size.
Oh my God.
Just let us have it. So we got
it's perfect.
We have a sail and a sock, a snuffer for it.
And the best part of it is that the sock is as vintage as the Genecker. Yeah. It's like this beautiful 90s style red. It's amazing. So now we have a much better downwind setup. We also tuned our rig. We did quite a few things to our rig to ensure that it's going to perform a lot better downwind. So you rig the system for a preventer that is going to be much easier to set up.
Yeah, we did a preventer system. I re-rigged our hard vang on our boom because it was making a bunch of noise, and I'm pretty sure it was going to break at some point. So we now have a stainless steel connection point, which I think the boom will break before this little connection point will break. And then we have a emergency stay that we've always had, but we've never really been able to use it. And so we rigged up a way to stow it and to use it. So quite exciting. So a lot of things there, but I think the biggest is the autopilot, and I always forget about it because it was like the first thing we did.
Yeah, and it's so unnoticeable either, because like the autopilot is this one thing that we always use, and it's not a big change except that we can rely on it a lot more. And now we have 2 autopilots, which I think it's crazy that we have 2 autopilots on this boat, but I mean,
we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, but maybe that's a good point. I mean, people have asked us about that. So Sophie and I intend.
What about?
We're just talking about autopilots.
Oh, we're talking about. I'm getting distracted.
So
focus.
So we put 2 autopilots on primarily because our first autopilot was acting up a little bit and sometimes disconnecting, sometimes flinging us around. And with Sophie and I planning to do the Atlantic by ourselves from Cape Verde across, the autopilot's our 3rd crew member, and if we don't have that, we're screwed.
And when we're not screwed, we can make it, but it's going to be very painful.
Be horrible.
It's not going to be fun.
So I decided it's worth the investment of having a backup to our 3rd crew member.
Yes.
Almost like a 4th crew member.
Exactly.
We can only use one at a time.
Let's talk about the upgrade that was going to be an upgrade, but eventually ended up being a demotion.
Yeah, so the other bit of work that we did in Almerimar.
A bit of work?
Yeah.
That took us weeks, like multiple weeks.
The other bit of work we did in Almerimar was we removed all of our flexible solar panels. So if you've been watching our channel for a while, one of our first videos that we did was we installed flexible solar panels on the deck. Over the last year, they've kind of been deteriorating as we go in terms of like performance. And I was getting a bit unhappy with that. So I went to the company, which is called Sunbeam Systems. And to be fair to them, their support has been really good.
They have really good customer service. And if you remember, we made this video about our hits and miss, and we mentioned that the flexible solar panels were not the best. The video was getting really long, so I cut the part where you talked about the customer service of the company, it's really good.
The guy who actually designed the panels physically came to our boat to check the panels and bring us our new panels that we got under warranty. So I have to say, from a customer service perspective, it it was fantastic. And we know some others who have the same panels that have had a few problems, also have had a good experience
with the customer service.
So what we learned was that we installed them probably a little incorrectly. They needed to be very flat, and even some of the small divots we had on the deck just for where the rain goes and stuff was too much, and so it was cracking the cells. So we removed all those panels, but how we installed them was with 3M tape, and let me tell you, those panels were never ever coming off. So we spent 2 weeks.
It was awful.
Pulling solar panels off and then removing this 3M tape. And
there is going to be a video about it.
It was horrible, absolutely horrible. But it's done now, and now we're debating if we put them back on, and if we do put panels back on, where we put them back on. And we're a little bit just still exhausted from removing the solar panels.
Yes.
So
we're at that stage where we were so upset about how much time it took us, not only to remove the panels, but to remove all the traces of that 3M VHB, I think is the name of it, that we're like, we need to take a break from the solar panels to be able to objectively make a decision as to if they're coming back or not on the deck. In the meantime, because those panels were replaced, but not 100% replaced. There is like one panel that was never going to be replaced on the foredeck. So there's this like one poor solar panel that we did not remove from the deck, just in case we decide to put the panels back on.
Yeah. So we have one panel on the deck still.
Anyways, end of the story.
End of the story. So we did that for 2 weeks in Miramar. And then the last thing we did was?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So this is when we talk about plans and how I don't think we can say that we fudged up, but in October, we thought about going either to Madeira or to Morocco on our way to the Canaries. That's what we wanted to do. We were thinking about leaving Almerimar at the end of September. In the meantime, some work projects popped up for you. So we had to stay a little bit longer, and literally the day before we were supposed to leave and sail to Gibraltar, Ryan and I decided that we were going to install a barbecue. And to install a barbecue, we had to order the barbecue. We had to have a little piece of stainless steel installed on our arch. In the end, I think that we stayed an extra 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, we did.
Because barbecue was delayed, and then I don't know exactly what happened, but it was also delayed. Weather window things, and yeah, so we didn't go to Madeira. I'm not sure that we're ever going to be able to go to Morocco. You were supposed to be leaving for work today or yesterday. Today. That changed. So our plans have changed probably 6 times over the course of the last 4 weeks, 5 weeks. Yeah, something like that.
There's a fly.
There is. Oh, right, yeah. Oh, my God. There is a fly by the camera.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. I was like, okay, it's annoying, but it's only annoying for me.
So we have a barbecue now.
Yes.
We used it the first time the other night, so that was good.
And we are in Gibraltar because we are currently waiting for crew.
To go with us to the Canaries.
Yes. I saw a question earlier, and I think that, after that, we can maybe start looking at the questions. But someone asked us if our plans for crew for the Atlantic have changed. The answer is yes and no, I guess. We didn't think about taking crew at all between here and all the way to the Caribbean. And now we are taking friends with us between Gibraltar and Lanzarote, and we're taking another couple of friends of ours between Lanzarote and Cape Verde. We're taking them as crew, but we're mostly taking them because they are a friend of ours, and it's a fun thing. Yeah. Both of them are, they want to do the exact same thing that we do, but they are maybe like 1 or 2 years behind
us,
in the schedule. So they're both looking for boats to buy. And we offered them to come with us to experience life offshore on a 40-foot Beneteau. So it's more of a fun thing. But definitely between Cape Verde and the Atlantic, we are not going to take crew with us.
No, we want to do it ourselves. I think that's been part of the dream the whole time. And while I think it'd be nice and more relaxing maybe to have crew, I think there's just something special about us doing it ourselves.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that it's like everything. If it's with the right people, I think that it would be as special. But the reality is that we don't really take crew. We take friends with us. I think that we took crew with us between Malta and Spain because we really wanted like to have extra hands. But for the passage between Gibraltar and all the way to the Caribbean, we don't feel that we would need extra hands. Although it will be nice to have some extra hands. So yeah, we do it because it's a fun thing.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Should we dive into some questions?
Yes. Okay. Yes. Hang out.
So the first question I saw I can answer right now, which we already touched on, was about our sail setup when we go across. So we're going to be going primarily downwind all the way. And so we plan to fly 2 head sails on the same stay with pulled out. So flying like a big kite. And that's how we plan to do it. Because when we came up with that plan, we did not have the nice person drop off an old Jenniker to us. So yeah, that's how we're going to do it. The idea would be not to lift the main if we can, just to try to save the main. But if we do lift the main, we do have a deep third reef in it to help us out in case we get into some bad weather.
Mm-hmm.
So that's our plan.
Ryan, let's hear about the new business.
So I'm going to start a new business. I've decided it's going to be called Polar Seal Soft Shackles. And I'm just going to, one thing I learned in El Miramar was how to splice Dyneema line, which is pretty cool. And it's pretty easy and it's fun. So I've decided I'm just going to make soft shackles the whole way across the Atlantic and sell them when I arrive in the Caribbean.
Yes, let me give you a little more background on this because, okay, very frankly speaking, after 3 to 4 days at sea, when you're on a sailboat and literally nothing happened, like you can get a little bit bored. And if you're not into books or podcasts, or if you don't have anything to entertain yourself, I mean, it can get quite boring. And you don't read much. You don't listen to podcasts either.
No.
I'm like, I love sailing for that because I love reading. I love podcasts. I can spend entire days listening to podcasts and audiobooks, but you're not that. But lately, Ryan has been picking up splicing, and you have about so much Dyneema. I mean, there is no way that we are ever going to need all the soft shackles that you make.
No, because I'm going to sell them. So if you're in the Caribbean and you need soft shackles, I'm selling them for like half the price of the chandleries. Trying to undercut my competition.
All right, let's move on from shameless self-promotion. Did you see any other?
The Autopilot. Somebody asked about the Autopilot. 2 Autopilots. They're both electric. They are both installed to the same drive unit. So we only have 1 drive unit, but we have a switch that completely disconnects one unit from the drive unit from the other unit, and we made a video about it. We're going to make another video about the installation. It's actually just needs to be filmed. We have everything ready.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, both electric. We're not using a wind vane. I know they don't use a lot of power. They're pretty basic mechanical machines, but I don't really like how it just hangs off the back and takes a bunch of space.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't have one. We have 2 Autopilots.
Yeah, someone asked a really good question, but I completely forgot what it was. I think it was about, someone asked about the coffee pot, the new coffee pot. Yes, it exists. It's amazing. It makes great coffee, and I do not have to handle any boiling water, which is great. I love my new coffee pot. It's so much faster. Gosh, there was another question that I saw. It was so good. Sorry, you.
While you're looking.
Yeah.
Somebody asked about the oil. So in our last video, there's a segment where we have, in the middle of the night, are digging around in our engine. So the situation there was, from the engine, we have some pipes that go into our water heater to heat the water when the engine's running. It's a pretty cool little system. A lot of boats have that. But those pipes go underneath one of the floorboards, and Sophie had been walking on top of one of the floorboards and felt that it was a little too hot.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing what happened is Sophie had never walked over those floorboards while the engine was running, maybe without shoes on, or just never stood there long enough to feel it. But there was a lot of heat, and so she woke me up, which was, I think, a good thing to do.
Yeah.
And we tried to figure out if it was actually overheating or what. So we
when we're underway, our policy is to, if we have a doubt, it's not even underway, it's all the time. When we have a doubt, we take it seriously. So we'll look at what if something is wrong, we'll look at the thing, we'll look at possible other causes. And a lot of time there is nothing to worry about, but instead of keeping it at the back of our minds, we prefer to make sure that everything is okay at once, and especially during a passage, and especially at night when everybody on board is sleeping and you're the only one on watch. That's our policy. That time, like, literally nothing was wrong, but better safe than sorry.
Lars asked here, any emergency installation if the rudder breaks? It's a pretty interesting question because a lot of people are worried about having red LED lights or making sure they have their Christmas lights for when they're crossing so they can light up the boat. And not many people think about the rudder.
Do you think?
Yeah,
no, I think so. A lot of people.
No, I don't think so. And that was the same with us, I think, when we were in the yard until the last day, and I shook the rudder a bit and realized it's a bit loose, something's on.
It was not loose.
It wasn't loose, but I felt it was loose. So the rudder is really important. And what are we going to do if we lose the rudder? We have thought about that a bit, and I think our solution will be to jerry rig up using a spinnaker pole and probably a door off the bathroom. Like
the bathroom's door or the forepeak door.
And we'll drill some holes and put some screws and nuts and attach it and limp our way along.
Yep.
To get there. We also have a drogue, but I think that would be quite difficult to use for hundreds and hundreds of miles.
Yeah. Well, the point here is that we have checked our rudder, we have checked the rudder bearings, we have checked our steering cables for the wheels. We have Dyneema so that if the rudder cables break, we have something to replace them. And I think that's more important.
We can use one of the soft shackles.
I think that, making sure that our system is okay and that we have the adequate spares to make a repair if something fails is not more important, but it maybe more important than making sure that you have a way to jerry rig a rudder in case it falls, because it is not going to fall. It's like, no, I refuse.
We have enough poles on the deck though right now to make like three different rudders.
Yeah, it's true. We have two whisker pole and a spinnaker pole. All right. Moving on. Are you checking the questions?
Yeah, but it's your turn.
Is it my? Oh my god! Did I not do my job? I'm sorry, guys.
I think there's been a lot of technical questions. People need to ask some questions for Sophie. There's somebody was talking about a pressure cooker.
A pressure cooker. I'm sorry, guys. I feel like we're really pooping this, by not like trying to talk, but also not being very active on looking at the questions. This is an art. Did you sleep last passage? Yeah. So our last passage was between Almerimar and Gibraltar. It was 24 hours. And yeah, we slept. Actually, we slept very well. I slept very really well. Oh my God, guys. So today in the US, it's daylight saving, not time, but like going back to normal time after daylight saving time. So everybody get an extra hour of sleep last night. That happened last week in Europe. And that happened right as I was on watch between 1 a.m. and 5 a.m. And around 4 a.m. I look at my watch. I'm like, yes, I only have 1 hour. Only for my phone to tell me that no, it is not 4 a.m. It is 3 a.m. You effectively have another 2 hours of watch. And so I'm like, oh, bummer. So I go down in the galley and make myself some coffee. And finally, when my watch says It is 4:45. Ryan is on watch in 15 minutes. Ryan comes running in the companionway and like, Sophie, why didn't you wake me up? I'm like, well, I was gonna wake you up in 10 minutes, like I'm nice. I let you sleep as much as I can. He's like, but it's 6 a.m. Yeah.
So I got 5 hours instead of 4.
Yeah, so Ryan slept very well.
Let's hear it. Robert asks, is it hard to keep a positive mental attitude on passage?
I'm going to let you answer that one. What do you think, Ryan?
I think it depends on the conditions. Sometimes Malta, going from Malta, which we knew was going to be long, was actually okay because mentally I was in a place like, this is going to be long. So it's going to be long. So Malta was actually quite fine. And it was actually pretty relaxing, even in the times that it was a little bit big, like rockier seas and stuff. But I remember when we left Almiramar last year to go to Cartagena, and that was just a day sail, and it was pouring rain, and there was no wind, but there was big waves. And that was just a brutal sail because we left and then the radio wasn't working, the AIS wasn't working, and we just spent all winter trying to fix stuff. So that was like a little demoralizing, that sail.
Yeah, I also think that it really depends where you are at in your sailing experience. Last year, if you've watched some of the videos that we've made, I was afraid of literally everything. I was afraid of the waves. I was afraid of the wind. I was afraid of the motion of the boat. I was afraid of other boats. And it was very difficult for me to get over that. Like, there is a part of me that only wanted to be down in the cabin and just wait it out. But it's not sustainable. And the more, in my experience at least, the more I sailed, the farther my comfort zone really expanded. And for me now, it's a lot easier to be really positive when we sail because now I'm really used to it and I'm not really that afraid anymore. What's difficult is to handle fatigue and tiredness. And that's when you can get a little bit irritated at the people around you.
Yeah.
Especially the 3 first days. And you just have to remind yourself that, you're on a boat, you're tired. It's an adjustment from land life when you're sailing offshore. So yeah, I think that the more you sail, the more you learn about yourself and how to get yourself to a nice mental space, and the easier it gets.
Yeah, I agree with that. Do you have one you wanted to address? I've seen some good ones. Now there's some good questions coming.
Oh la 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 la! Oh my God! Okay, I feel extremely distracted today. Oh, how is the burn on your leg? It's very nice. Thank you very much for asking. It's healing very nicely. I just have a small scar, which was to be expected. Here.
Yes.
My concern is the degree which you both still panic when things are not going perfectly. Do you think you're both ready to problem solve with clear heads and less drama than your normal days?
I'm going to answer that question.
Oh, right. You're such a drama queen.
Yeah, sometimes. I have to disagree with that statement a bit because I think that we actually do really well when things are not going well. And part of the challenge with YouTube is that you only get to see about 1% of what actually goes on the boat. So the challenge with it is to show the whole story without showing the whole story because nobody wants to watch our lives 24 hours a day. So I think we do pretty well handling situations. And I came from the aviation world, so that's all we did was train for mentally preparing yourself when shit hits the fan. So I'm not worried about that at all.
I want to extend a little bit on that because it's very easy to pick up the camera when everything is going smoothly. But one of my goals with this channel was to also show the realities. And it's not easy to pick the camera when your partner is really stressed or when you're in a not as nice situation. And I wanted to be very open about the times when we melt down or the times that, we never show our arguments on camera, but, I wanted to show that as well because it's normal. It is part of life. And, having meltdowns or drama, that's okay, and I think that what's important is how you deal with it, and I think that it's easier to deal with meltdowns and disappointments or hinders when you know that they're normals and they happen to everybody. So yeah, that's one reason that you see a lot of those things on our channel. It's because I actively want to show that and that we deal with it.
Yeah, I think so. So I'm not worried about it at all. I think we're as prepared as we can be.
Oh, hi Tracy.
Do you want? Should we answer? There's some questions above I want to answer, but let's.
How many times have you touched poop?
I have touched poop. I have touched poop a few times.
Oh, this person has lived on a boat. Who is that? Oh, Estrella del Mar. Yeah, of course. Yes. You will know boat life. Yeah, I mean, boat life brings you to things that you didn't know you would ever do, such as servicing your own toilet every other month. Mm-hmm.
There was a question about this season, and there's two questions about this in the Med. So how was your overall experience this season in the Med? Happy about it? And then somebody else asked, why did you skip the rest of the Med? I'll take it first, then you can take it.
Okay, and I'll read questions.
No, but you should answer this too, because I think we're gonna have different views on it.
Okay, go ahead.
So I think the Mediterranean, so we went to the Balearics, Corsica, Sardinia, Sicily, Malta, and then back to Spain. I think they're all beautiful places. There's all like tons of history to see. There's really cool anchorages. But the thing I hated about the Med that just drove me nuts was it was really expensive. So going to a marina was just simply out of the option. The weather was constantly changing. So we would find a nice anchorage and be like, oh, we could spend a week here. It's really beautiful. And then the wind would change and the swell would come around. And then in 6 hours, we'd need to leave. And that's how it was all season. And, when you're in the Balearics, there's nowhere to hide except to go around to the other side of the island. And by the time you get over there, either the wind has changed or because it's north or south, it's coming from a different direction anyways. So we've been told by many people that we missed out with Greece. I'm pretty sure that is the case. But we decided, because the marinas are so expensive and I was just getting tired of dealing with the winds every day and the swell, that we would go try some trade wind sailing, where we know where the winds are coming from every day and where the swell is coming from every day.
Yes.
And it's pretty predictable, unlike the Med. So that's my view. Yes, Greece is still on the list. Turkey is still on the list.
It has to be, because it is very high on my list still. When we made the decision this fly really likes to hang out by the camera. Yeah. Sorry, guys. When we made the decision to cross the Atlantic this year, it was a big compromise, because I really wanted to continue towards Greece and Turkey, but you were also feeling really tired of having to dodge the swell and the wind constantly. It was really, really tiring. With that said, the Med, in my experience, was absolutely gorgeous. It's an amazing place. The food everywhere we've been has been fantastic. France, Italy, Sicily in my heart. Malta was incredible. And the more east we would go, I experienced, the better it got.
My favorite place was northern Sardinia. First off, I thought it was really pretty. Second off, there's like an archipelago there.
La Maddalena.
And yes. So if the wind does shift, you can like just hop across the bay and you have a new protected spot. And that was not like that anywhere else we went.
But I think it would have been the case in Greece.
Yeah, it might have been, yeah.
So anyways, we knew that the Mediterranean was going to be very technical in terms of the sailing. We knew that in the Mediterranean, there is either too much wind or no wind. When there is wind, it's generally in your nose, because Murphy.
Yeah.
And what's been really difficult is the swell. The swell really kicked us out of anchorages every other day. And the wind, is something that you can deal with at Anchorage. You just have to be a little careful about what happens around you. You just have to have a good anchor. But the swell, when your boat rocks, when your entire house rocks back and forth for hours at a time, you can't live like that.
It was a bit annoying.
It doesn't work. It didn't work for us.
The other thing, there's a lot of people, and it'll be that way in the Caribbean too, but a lot of people, a lot of charter boats. We did meet some really cool people that were also out cruising. So yeah, I hope that answers that question. One question I saw while Sophie's looking up questions. Did we upgrade our medical kit after Sophie's burn?
Oh my. Let us tell you a story or two. You want to start?
About what, the medical kit?
The medical kit?
So yeah, we upgraded the medical kit. We met somebody kind enough. He was a doctor in Sweden, did the Atlantic last year, and had enough kit on his boat to, quote, open an operating theater in his boat.
An operating theater.
So we acquired about 90% of his kit. And then he also prescribed us a number of prescription meds, everything from antibiotics to painkillers to antipsychotics, for the ship's medical cabinet. Yes. So we are fairly well stocked up. We have 3 large Rubbermaid bins of medical supplies.
Yes. So we have everything from like different types of antibiotics for different types of infections. We have a lot of types of painkillers, which are things that I never thought I would ever touch in my life. Like really anything that you can think of if something goes wrong in the middle of the ocean. We do not carry IV kits because we're not trained for that. We can't do it, but we inherited a catheter because our doctor thought that this was something that was important for us to have in case one of us forgets to pee and then after a while literally cannot pee anymore. I was laying on the floor at this point in the kitchen of this doctor because I am extremely sensitive to blood, and you can just tell me stories, I will faint. But I know that if I lay on the floor or if I lay somewhere, I won't faint. So I was laying on the floor, and all I remember from how to operate a catheter was our doctor saying, and then you take the wick and you go, yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, we have an upgraded medical kit.
With a catheter.
With a catheter.
By the way, I saw that Jules and Tenny just joined us. Feel safe, guys.
There's a question I wanted to answer here. Here, you should answer this one.
Wait. Did Ryan want to throw you overboard when he saw the edited version of his struggle with the wires? No. He did not want to throw me overboard. But if we're going to be perfectly honest, there is a couple of sentences that Ryan asked me to cut. And because I'm a nice girlfriend, I cut those.
It was a little bit worse than what you maybe saw.
It was a little bit bad. It was very, yeah. So I cut those. I would not have cut those.
But I share your philosophy though, with trying to show how things actually are.
Yes.
Versus.
Yes.
Because I think that we got a lot of comments on that video about, oh no, that wasn't bad at all. You should see what I do. So there was a question I saw in here that I really wanted to answer.
Are you in Alcaidesa, Ocean Village, or Queensway? We are in Alcaidesa because Ocean Village is currently context for everybody else. In Gibraltar, where we are currently docked, there are a few marinas. One of them, a really big one, very modern one, is on the Spanish side. And there are 2 ones in Gibraltar. Ocean Village and Queensway, which are the ones in Gibraltar, are full. Ocean Village is under construction, and Queensway is currently, like, I don't know, there's so much people. So we are in La Linea. We go to Gibraltar pretty much every day, and we cross the border every time, and it is the loosest border I have ever experienced in my life. There was nobody at the border today even. No one even looked at my passport.
They kind of just wave you through.
Yeah.
So here's a question. Do you think standard production boats are suitable for ocean crossing? Wish you luck. Fair winds. Great. I don't know if I'm an expert on this, but I definitely have an opinion, just like most sailors.
Yeah.
You can cross an ocean in anything. So last year, a 72-year-old man from France crossed the ocean in a big orange barrel.
Yeah.
With no propulsion. And he did it in 130 some days. I think in the 80s, some guy windsurfed across the Atlantic.
That's wow.
So you can do it. And we've had this discussion a lot, both with ourselves and other people. I think production boats like we have are perfectly fine to go across an ocean once or twice, do a lot of trade wind sailing. I don't think it's bad. And we've done so many things to this boat that I feel really confident in it. I mean, Beneteaus and Jeannots and Hansis, they go across oceans all the time. So I don't think it's bad. But we have talked.
I plan to cross in a shoe. Yes!
You can do that. I think if we were going to do sailing into more extreme latitudes where the weather is changing more, the winds are shifting more, we would probably get a different boat. Wouldn't you think?
Yeah, totally.
I think so. So, and it would probably be more of a center cockpit boat, and it'd probably be like more robust and beefy.
Yes. Let's be real. Everybody who owns a boat and sails the boat around always thinks about boat number 2 or like the next boat, you know. And every time, like for every month that we sail and we live on board, we think about things to add to boat number 2.
Yeah. So yeah, and then we have the internal debate with ourselves if we're getting a catamaran or a monohull. And either way, it doesn't matter because it's all more expensive than what we can afford.
Yes.
So this is the boat we have, and this is what we're doing it with.
Yes. You know, it's like it's much cheaper to dream about our dream boat than to actually buy it.
So no, you can do. People are making comments here. You can do the crossing in any size boat. In anything, you really can. You just need to be prepared.
Yeah, and
mentally and physically and boat wise.
And be realistic about your boat's capabilities and what you can expect out of it. You know, in terms of sailing, but also in terms of comfort on board. But you can.
There's a lot of questions about this popping up, so let's stay on the topic for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Stephen Lancaster.
Oh, hi, Stephen.
He asked, "Do you wish we would have gotten a catamaran?"
Yes. But we were never going to afford it. So we could have bought like a very, very old catamaran, but we would probably have had to spend a lot of money and time to reconfigure or refit that catamaran. And no.
I'm pretty mixed on catamarans. Like, catamarans are pretty expensive, even used ones, especially now because after the hurricanes the last few years, there's just no used catamarans on the market. So they're expensive, and the new production catamarans I don't think sail well. At least I don't think they look like they do. The boom is like 10 feet, 20 feet in the air. Like I don't like the designs of them. So I really struggle with the catamaran thing a bit. And to get one that I think I would like from a sailing perspective, it would be wicked expensive. So Sophie wishes. There are days at Anchorage that I do wish we had a catamaran. Yes. That is absolutely true.
We had those this gang of friends that were cruising on Saba 50s, which are enormous Fontaine Pajot catamarans, and it was so nice when it was swelly to go hang out on their boat because it felt like there was no swell. I saw a question that asked if we had a dental kit on board. We do not, but we have a dremel tool.
We do have some pretty strong painkillers, so yes. I guess we could do that.
Yes, and our doctor prescribed us some antibiotic special for like.
So we're all good to go.
Yes, antibiotics, Dremel tool.
On the boat, back to the boat thing again. Somebody asked, would you go for the same size boat for number 2? Sophie and I speak for each. We agree on this one.
No. When we bought our boat, we were looking at 38-foot boat. Eventually, we realized that by buying a slightly older, and our boat is not even that old, we could get a 40-foot boat, which is much more boat for the money. Looking back, we thought that 40 was really big. Looking back, I wish that we had gone 45.
Yeah, I think 45 would have been. I think it would have been better. But then we would have been like, oh, we need 50.
Yes.
Which we've already said that a few times.
A lot of people have asked us if we are going to the Bahamas. Bahamas?
Yeah, maybe. But that's not where we're going to land.
No, that's not where we're going to land.
We are planning on landing in...
I want to go to the Bahamas.
But you also want to go to Japan.
Yeah, I want to go...
doing that right away.
I want to go everywhere, yeah.
So we're going to land in where?
We're going to land in Martinique because La France. Because French supermarkets. No, but more practically because it's still in the European Union. We don't have to clear customs. It's the same currency. It just, from an administrative point of view, it makes things a lot easier to start in Martinique. And then we can start getting in new countries and do clearance and change currencies and everything. Where are you going?
Turn the lights on.
Oh, you're going to, oh, good call. Yeah, no, I really want to go to the Bahamas. The thing is, we haven't really planned or discussed any other places where we want to go in the Caribbean, which I think is a good thing. I don't know. The big pitfall of cruising is wanting to go to too many places, and then you burn yourself trying to go to as many places as possible, and you end up being disappointed because there was this one place on your list where you couldn't get to because the weather didn't permit you to go to. So we don't really have a plan for how we are going to sail the Caribbean. We don't even know if we are going to escape the hurricane season north or south. So we really don't have a plan. But I really hope to go to the Bahamas because I think it looks amazing. It really does. Okay. I was trying to be organized and kind of write
I've started
the
doing
questions.
that too.
Good job.
There's some good questions coming up. Keep it going, guys.
You guys are amazing. It's so much fun to hang out. I love those live sessions. I know that the last one was 2 months ago, and I was like, maybe it's too early to do one, but this is very selfish. We just really like to do this.
Oh, it's really fun. Somebody asked, do we have a map of where things are stored on the boat? We do not, but I mean,
it's not. It's such a small boat.
Yeah, but we still lose things quite often. Sometimes we spend hours digging around for stuff.
Yeah, but it's because we misplace things.
Yeah. All of the spares and tools and parts and lines, I know exactly where everything is in my head, but that doesn't help Sophie. And Sophie knows exactly where all of the provisions are. And I don't. I kind of vaguely do.
Although I've bought so much stuff because I've already started to do the provisioning for the Atlantic crossing. I've started to buy a lot of my favorite Spanish condiments or things that I know that I can only get in certain places. So I've started to bulk up on that. When our crew arrives on Tuesday, Wednesday, we're going to do a bit of an inventory of everything that we have in terms of the food on the boat before we go for more provisioning. But yeah, I know pretty much what I have, but now I have so much that I need to get myself organized a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, so no map. Maybe we should do that, though.
I'm going to read the questions.
Okay. Stephen also asked, who is better at giving stitches, me or Sophie? Just so you know, we do have a stitch kit, but we also use, what are they called?
Let's talk about who is not going to pass out to give stitches.
I won't pass out giving stitches. Sophie probably will.
Yeah.
So the answer then would be me, I guess. I would be the best at giving stitches, but we use dairy strips. Man, I had to use those once. I cut my finger, which you don't need to really use the stitches. You just tape. It's like a tape that goes across the wound. Works pretty good. I suggest it for your medical kit.
Mm-hmm. Ryan, did you get a new Speedo for the Caribbean?
No.
I battle to get Ryan to wear something else in terms of the swimwear than his 19 years old trunks. How old are they by now? When did you get them? Your swim trunks.
2000.
2000. Yeah, so they're almost 20 years old now.
Yeah, they still work. So.
I will buy Ryan a new Speedo.
But they work. They're fine.
For the Caribbean.
Okay. somebody asked, I just saw a solar question that I finally, right at the beginning of the question, somebody asked, how much solar do you need to run your water maker? And
oh yeah, it's here.
No, there was another question.
Okay.
Solar water maker. I've calculated it'd be about 700 to 800 watts, but that would require you to have like perfect sun. So it's a lot, but gives you an idea. And that would be to have a zero gain or loss in the system. So if you'd have a little less than that, you'd have a little bit of loss in the batteries, but not as much. Somebody, I saw a really good question here, but I don't remember who it's from, asked, how much experience do you think you need to have to do the things that Sophie and I do? And this question, I get asked sometimes, and I'm always a bit mixed on how to answer it. I think that it's really good for people who want to start sailing just to get out and start sailing, because that is the best way to learn. Now, I think that taking some instruction maybe before you do that or while you're doing that is also extremely valuable.
Yeah.
Because you will just learn a lot, but instruction alone won't give you the skills you need either, because you need to go out and just experience it yourself. So you can do that a number of ways. You can buy a boat and just go for it. You could charter a boat. Nice thing about that is if you smash it, it's not your boat. Or you can crew. Oy.
What was that? Did you hear that, guys? The big bonk.
Or you can go crew on.
I'm gonna go.
Or you can go crew on other boats. So I think just getting out there and doing it is the thing to do. Yeah, so just go for it. But what I would say is don't maybe cross an ocean right away. Get out, get a little experience for a year or two, and then maybe take that on.
Everything was okay.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
It was our neighbor's tension. The other day, when our neighbors came in the berth, they hit our anchor with the stanchion, and their stanchion was completely bent. So they just managed to remove it so that they can repair it. I'll continue a little bit on this question because it's a very good one. We know someone who had no sailing experience, bought a boat, and the first thing that they did was to solo. We're not talking about two people, we're talking about one person. Solo across Biscay. It worked, but that is not something that I would recommend. I think that taking a proper sailing course first helped us to realize if this was something for us or not. Pretty quickly realize what was going to be difficult about it. Then we bought the boat, and we had the boat for about 2 years in Stockholm before we left. I don't think that we needed to stay 2 years in terms of our experience. But, you know, still having our boat while we were living on land also allowed us the time to learn everything about our boat. And then when we left, taking things like slowly as they came, like really helped us build up the experience and the confidence. So I would say how much experience you need is really up to you and how conservative you are with safety, but also what you're comfortable with.
The problem is you don't know what you don't know.
You don't know what you don't know.
And we see that a lot with the charter boats. So many times we see charter boats come in, they just drop the anchor. No, they don't set it. They don't put out enough scope for the chain. And then they leave, and then the boat starts dragging. Or it maybe starts dragging onto our boat or other people's boats that are anchored properly. And it's part of the reason is they just don't know that they need to be doing that. So I suggest getting a bit of like tuition for it, and then just like go trying things yourself and read up on stuff and talk to people. That's the best way.
Chris asks, have you thought about a hydro generator to generate power on passage? Hi, Chris.
We have, but there's only so many things I can do to this boat now.
Yeah.
I would love to put one on because I think it's cool tech, but I have to draw a line somewhere, and I've drawn it there. So yes, we have thought about it. It'd be very cool. For those who don't know, a hydro generator is like a propeller that sticks in the water. So when you're sailing, it turns a little motor and provides power. They're pretty cool.
Did you also take a radio course or navigation? We took the RYA Day Skipper course, which included a bit of VHF and a lot of navigation. So yeah, one could say Ryan is a trained pilot, so navigation was what he's professionally trained for. So you're pretty good at that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the navigating's not an issue here. Navigation systems. What navigation systems are you using for the crossing? So, believe it or not, there is really not much to hit out in the Atlantic. So, really, all you need is a compass and point the right direction. And eventually, you're going to hit land. I think the navigation systems are more important when you are coastal sailing or hopping between islands and things, just because you need to know you need to know the depths and obstructions and different things there. So I think the charts are more important. For that, we use our chart plotters, and then we have some charts on our phones. Yeah.
Someone asked, can you talk honestly about how much money your channel generates? Yes, I can. It's not very hard. So are you guys listening? Talking about money here. In terms of ad revenue, our channel generates about $300 per month. And we also have wonderful patrons who help us create those videos that you see. And as of now, we get about between $600 and $700 per month, which is absolutely amazing and a very humbling experience. Now and then, we also receive things.
Like a new old Jenniker.
Yes, exactly. Someone gifted us his Jenniker, which was amazing. So it's not, yeah.
I would say honestly, for the amount of work. So Sophie puts in a tremendous amount of work, and she likes it, but it's not enough for us to live off of.
No. So don't get into YouTube for money. It is.
Don't do this.
It is not something that is. I mean, for a lot of people and certain people, it's a viable career, but I really do it because I'm passionate about it. But yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Somebody asked about the knocking. There is knocking going on. It's a little annoying, but again, it's the guy on the boat next to us trying to fix the stanchion that he busted up 2 days ago. So hopefully on our anchor. So sorry about that. I will say one thing that we do get out of these videos that Sophie didn't talk about, how much we make, is I think the most valuable thing that we've gotten out of this is meeting people.
Yes.
So we meet all of you guys. It's great when people come up to our boat and just start talking with us. We love it. And the relationships and the friendships and the stories and the experiences that we've had from it, that's been like the most valuable part.
Absolutely. I don't think
really, I never really thought of that much when we started doing this, but it's been the best part of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what the person meant, but the biggest value is not monetary. It's all those incredible people that we meet, and I especially think of Catania and Malta, and Portugal, and the people who are coming on our boat between Gibraltar and the Canaries, and between the Canaries and Cape Verde, are friends that we met through YouTube. So a lot of times when we arrive somewhere, I mean, one of you will be in that place and we'll meet, and all of you guys are absolutely amazing people. So generally we become really good friends. And so, now the people coming on our boat are friends that we met through YouTube. So it's so rich.
Yeah, it's really good. Oh, I want to. Do you guys have any instances where crime or theft has affected you personally?
Yes.
We did. This summer, I had my shoes stolen off the dock when we were visiting our friends on a boat called Sea Odyssey. They took my shoes.
Yep.
I had to walk back in my socks.
They didn't take mine, so I don't know what that means.
They were both sitting next to each other. They took my shoes, not Sophie's.
I guess someone didn't believe that I had good taste in shoes. I felt very vexed by this. I'm joking.
And then in relation to that, somebody asked, LPJ asked, do you have any weapons on board or plan to lock yourselves in the cabin? This is a hard topic, but it's a good one that I've spent a lot of time thinking about. last winter we almost took a close quarters self-defense class. So the class was going to be just with Sophie and I, and it was just going to be focused on self-defense in small confined areas. We did not do that just because of financial reasons, but our attitude towards the boat is to be passive. Put it this way, if somebody comes on our boat and wants to take all electronics off the boat, I'm just going to let them take the electronics off and just walk away from it, and hopefully it ends there. But if somebody wants to come on the boat and try to do
your Crocs.
My Crocs. If somebody wants to come on the boat and try to harm one of us, I think at least I am mentally prepared to fight. But we don't carry weapons on board just because of that. We have a rigging knife by the companionway that I suppose could be used, but we don't carry gum, we don't carry pepper spray. And that's a very personal thing to many people on boats. So if you ask somebody else, they're gonna have a totally different answer on that. So we lock the boat when we go away, even when we're at anchor, but we always leave the keys in the ignition, and that's a safety thing. So if the boat is dragging and we're away, if people do see it, that gives them the option to try to turn the motor on and solve it while we're away. But we do leave the boat locked. So somebody could still manipulate the boat, and if they want to take it, I guess they take it. But we do leave the keys there, but that's a safety thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, someone asked if they will be able to track us for the Atlantic. You can track us already now. We are very public with our live location.
After I told you that we leave the keys in the ignition.
Did you do that?
Yeah, I just said that.
Oh my God.
But we do. It's a safety thing.
Okay. I mean, there are only good people here. Yes, so we have an Iridium Go, which is it's not a sat phone, it is a little satellite router that creates a little network on our boat. We can connect our phones, and it allows us to get weather offshore. It allows us to send SMS and get calls, make calls.
We can get calls too.
So, for example, when I burnt myself, we called Brian's sister to get some medical advice. But it also allows us to have live tracking on our website. So if right now you go to ryanandsophie.com, if you scroll down a little bit, we have this like big live tracking page. So that's one method. I think it's a great method because you can see on the map what kind of weather we have and the conditions. I can also blog through that. So throughout our passage, I will be able to post little updates, like what's going on today and how the weather is. I think I'm even able to publish some photos. But anyway, so yes, there is like this great live tracking on our website.
But you're right. If you go on the tracker right now, it shows us outside of Gibraltar, and that's because the live tracker on Iridium only updates every couple hours. So it probably updated while we were out there, and then by the time we got in, we'd shut it off.
Yeah, you probably did that.
I probably did that. So that's why it's there.
Safety. Woo!
Yeah. So if people want to take the boat.
Someone say, it's just a Beneteau. Oh, it's just a Beneteau.
I mean, I can't. The boats are floating out there. There's tons of boats. I don't know. But we do lock it. That's about it.
Yeah. Someone asked if we've seen floating containers out at sea.
We haven't seen any floating containers. We hit something on our last passage. I'm pretty sure it was a dolphin that we hit.
I think it was a whale.
No, that was like the time before. But I think in the last one, because that was when all those dolphins
were around. That's when I woke up.
Yeah.
And you asked me, yes. I don't think that we hit a dolphin. I think that a dolphin just bonged us in
I think a dolphin has a bit of a headache. So
yeah. Okay, what else do we have? You should be able to change these settings. What settings? For stealing. Oh well. Someone also asked what tools I use to edit videos on my laptop. I use Premiere. That's all I use. Premiere and my faithful pair. That was my birthday present from Ryan. But My Bose headphones, they're amazing. I have them on all the time. They're pink. Ryan chose them for me. Thank you, honey. That was great. It's the best birthday gift ever.
They're good headphones. We can recommend them. We get no compensation from Bose for that.
When I want some quiet time or some alone time, I will just put them on, and Ryan can talk to me, and I will hear nothing. I just see Ryan's lips move, like blah 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 blah.
It's super annoying actually, because I'll be trying to like get her attention to do something, and I'll find myself talking for 5 minutes, and then I realize she didn't hear anything I said, so I have to repeat it, which is pretty much my whole life on this boat. Because if she has her headphones on, I have to repeat myself, and then if she's got the camera, I usually have to repeat myself also because I didn't do it right the first time. Wow. So I live in constant perpetual state of say it again.
No, it's not that you didn't say it right. It's just that the camera wasn't on or the settings were not right. So I ask you to repeat. I should make an entire video of me asking Ryan to repeat what he said. I have developed 1,000 different ways to ask Ryan to repeat, to try to not annoy me, to try to not annoy you.
Somebody's asked, Tracy asked, this is a while back. Sorry for getting long. What certificate? Do you need some type of certificate for insurance purposes? This is a good question. The world of boat certification is like the Wild West. It drives me nuts because I'm a certification guy. There is no standard for what you need. So a particular country may have a standard, and they may say, oh yeah, you need, for a sailboat, you may need to have some super duper certificate. Germany and Spain and Italy are like classic for this. But in Sweden, you don't. So if you're flying if you're on a Swedish flag boat like we are, we don't need any certificate to operate this boat, Swedish flag. But some countries, when you go there, like Greece, for instance, may require that you have something to show them, to show that, like, well, you do kind of know what you're doing. So we have our day skipper from RYA, and we have an ICC, an International Certificate of Competency.
Yes.
And that works. But for the insurance has asked us about it, but I don't think maybe it does make a bit of a difference for their underwriters, but I don't think it makes a huge difference. So it depends on your insurance. We know some people with their insurance have been asked not to cross oceans right away to get a little more experience. We know others that it hasn't mattered. It just depends on the size of your boat, the value of it. So it's a bit of a difficult question to answer. It depends really on what country you're in and what type of boat you're sailing, I guess.
And what insurance company you're working with. Oh, okay. Someone asked how my seasickness has been for the last trip. My seasickness is miraculously gone. I have not experienced any type of seasickness since, when was the last time that I was seasick? It was a
Probably
very long time
I was
ago.
seasick today.
Yeah, that's right. But it's very windy today in Gibraltar, and so our boat is moving a lot. And when you're working on your computer, it's like you won't notice that the boat is moving a lot, but your internal ear will. And so you start getting like a little drowsy, a little tired, get a headache. You're seasick at the dock. No, my seasickness has been like completely gone, and I believe that there are a few things that happened. I think that the first one is I'm not really scared anymore. I think that nervosity has been a big trigger of my seasickness. And
maybe that's why I got seasick today. I was nervous for all these guys.
Aww. You're lying.
I was just staring at my computer too long.
And the second thing is I found this amazing trick. I mean, seasickness is very individual. You know how it works and what will work for you to prevent it or cure it. But a lot of people want to steer, like stay at the helm. I found that when I get myself in the companionway and I compensate by balancing my body to compensate for the motion of the boat, my internal ear kind of like, I don't know, stabilize or whatever, and seasickness just goes. And it works really well for me. So yeah, seasickness, bye-bye.
But somebody has asked if we have a forward-looking sonar and if that would help against containers. We do not have a forward-looking sonar. And even if we did, I don't think it would help because by the time the sonar would see it, I think it may be a bit too late for us to act. Maybe not. I'm not sure. I've never used one. We don't have one. So, no, we usually keep our eyes out. Here's a good one. Somebody's asked, can I talk more about the battery crimping that I wrote about?
It's a list.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, talk about more the battery and the bad crimping.
So when we got to Miramar, one day, actually the day the solar panel guy came, I noticed, I lifted up the battery compartment box and noticed one of the wires was shaped a bit funny. So after he left, I went down and noticed that all of the sheathing off a fairly big wire, it's about that, the cross section's about that big, was melted off and some of the terminal ends had burnt. So that was a bit concerning, especially since that wire was resting up against wood. I was pretty certain that we could have burnt the boat down. So I was pretty scared. When you're writing, honey, it's shaking the whole thing.
Sorry.
Everyone's getting seasick.
I'm
So anyways, what I determined was when I did the lithium battery installation, I used two different crimpers, hydraulic crimpers. One of them was a bit better than the other one. And the crimps with the kind of the worst of the two did not crimp quite tight enough. They were pretty tight, but some of them I could pull apart with my hand. Other of them, if I put them in a vise and really yanked, they would slide a bit. But the wire in particular that caused the problem was a wire I did at the very last minute before we left. And I probably just rushed it. And it was a short wire and it was bent at a very funny angle. So it was putting a lot of stress. Here's the wire, here's the crimp. It was putting a lot of stress. It was bent kind of like this. And I think that was creating just enough friction resistance in the system to cause it to heat up. And that was a wire that had a lot of current because it connected to our inverter, which then went to all of the high power stuff when we were running the induction stove and the microwave. So it probably was like that most of the season, and it was just slowly burning the sheathing off of that. So I went through and checked every single crimp I made last year, and that was a lot of crimps.
But not all of them.
Not all of them bad. I'd say about, well,
that's the thing.
Not all of them. There was only a few that were maybe bad, but there was probably 30% of them I did with a bad crimper.
I don't think that the crimper was bad. I think that, the way that a crimper works is that it's like this big tool that you use to press, but inside the tool you need to put little blocks that are different size for different size cables. And I think that in the tool that you use, you may have used one that was too big.
No, they were all the right size, but it just, the machine, the hydraulic, it just wasn't as strong as it used to be.
Yeah.
So that was a big bummer, but I learned a big lesson there, and hopefully all of you learned a lesson too. So the crimps are really important. Make sure you do them well.
Yeah, but it's also very difficult to know what is a good crimp and what is a bad crimp. Like how do you see that? You know, like for me, I didn't understand because I didn't know what a good crimp looks like. You know, so. Okay, people want to hear, Ryan, about your fishing skills.
I don't know why this is such a... So many people have been joking
okay,
about
guys,
this.
like, let's go back to you don't know what you don't know. And when it comes to
I
fishing,
don't know anything
we
about
are
fishing.
noobs. Like, we are total noobs. We tell the story of how we miserably fail or like get lucky with fishing. But the reality is that we watch a lot of YouTube to learn how to fish. The other reality is that we, especially you decided that you were really going to get into the gear part of fishing.
I love gear.
Yes. So Ryan acquired this enormous rod while I was more into hand lines and small hooks.
But we're going to catch a huge
fishing.
fish with it. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, well, so far, the only fishes that we caught were on my small, tiny hand lines.
That's true.
With my very cheap hooks.
Yes, exactly. The question, what fishing skills? I have no fishing skills. But I can gut a fish now.
Yes,
and
it's
clean
true.
a fish, and I'm
It's
pretty
true.
good at that now.
It's true.
So
I do quality controls because obviously, like, I can't see blood without passing out, and me passing out on the boat on the way would be a bad thing. So I don't clean the fish. I don't prepare the fish, but I quality check the fish, and if there are bones in the fish, I will send them back in the cockpit for some more filleting.
Yeah, it's true.
Mm-hmm. Okay, someone asked a very interesting question. It was, when did we realize that we had become sailors? Meaning you
We're
had
still
changed
waiting
from
for that day.
Okay, yes.
It's
So
true.
first off, we are. I mean,
I feel like a season in the Med, we become boaters. That's what we've done with boat.
Yes, it is. It is true, but we have become a little more confident with the boat. I don't. I couldn't say I'm a sailor because I don't feel quite competent enough, or I feel I have so much more to learn. But for me, a turning point was when Fabienne came on board with us. You know, and Fabienne was very new to sailing. She was our crew between Malta and Spain, and we taught her a lot. And that's when I realized that, oh wait, I know way more than I did 3 years ago when I started this thing. And like, Ryan and I can run the boat fairly efficiently and safely. And like, for me, that was a turning point. First off, being able to be 6 days at sea without no major incident apart from my burn, that was embarrassing. But that was cool, you know, to be like, okay, we were well prepared, the boat was well equipped, we know what we're doing, except when I make coffee. And we can take someone on board and feel like it's okay, you know, this person is safe with us, and I feel like I can take responsibility for someone else on board, even if they don't have a lot of experience. That's when, for me, that was a bit of a turning point. But still have a lot to learn.
M. Nardo asks, he says, I'm 8, wondering if you guys...
Who are you talking about? Show me. Oh, yeah.
I'm 8, wondering if you see any kids on boats. We absolutely do. In fact, some of the best boats, some of the best friends that we've made are boat kids and boat families. They're super cool. So we've seen kids, we've seen all the way from little babies up to teenagers, anywhere from 1 kid on a boat to 7 kids on a boat.
Yes.
So definitely see it. It definitely happens. A lot of them are homeschooled, and it's really fun. And a lot of other boat kids are really, doesn't matter the language, they're really into just getting to know people. So yes, you can definitely do it if you convince your family to do it, or you can just buy a boat and go sailing. And in that respect, somebody has asked, there was another, how does a sailor convince his wife to quit her job and go cruising? So I think that's a touchy question. It was maybe a joke, but it's a bit of a serious one.
I think that a lot of people are in relationships with women,
or other way around,
or the other way around, and one of the partners really wants to go sailing, but the other one is more like, nah, what is that even? You know, what does that even mean?
Yeah. So the thing is if the person really isn't into it, it's not going to work. So, okay, it's not a joke. It's an actual question. So I would just take small steps. So probably just go out day sailing, talk about the idea a little bit, go out a little bit more sailing, go a little bit farther. That's what I would do. But we do know couples that it's been one person's dream and not the others. And there's a lot of challenges that then get associated with that.
Well, here is my take on, because we've met a lot of people for who it was the guy's dream or the woman's dream. It's all about finding what's in it for the other person. So in all honesty, Ryan and I love this lifestyle, but for different reasons. Ryan really loved the sailing part of it. And I love the sailing. I love a good passage, but I enjoy the people that we meet and the destinations that we reach more than the act of getting there. And I think that it talks for a lot of, I hate to generalize, but I think that for a lot of couple who's like one person really wants to go sail because they really love sailing, maybe, you know, show where you can end up, what kind of life you can have when you go cruising, and what kind of amazing people you are going to meet when you go cruise is probably more appealing to someone who's not really into sailing, because that's one thing that this lifestyle brings a lot of. Guys, our social life is amazing. The people that we have met since we've left, and the cocktails. I finally found the cocktails. They are great.
Can you guys still hear us? Can you guys still see us?
Na, na, na.
Just making sure we're still connected.
Are we or not? I mean, I still have 4G.
Yes. Okay, cool. Cool.
By the way, we are going to be here for as long as you guys want to hang out. So that we just call it.
So so I think that question, like, it's really a discussion you should have, and then like Sophie says, I think we're into it for different reasons. So that's sometimes then creates our own challenges, but
yeah,
it's life on a boat. And well, like,
you know, life on a boat is a concentrate of life. You know, when you're a couple, you spend all of your time with this one person that becomes your everything. Like, this person is your friend, your confidant, your psychologist, your helper, the partner, the colleague. It's everything. So it makes things really intense. But it's also extremely rewarding. Anyways, I don't know why I get sidetracked like this.
It was a good question.
Someone asked us if we are doing the arc. We are not doing the arc. I think that for many reasons, we felt that we didn't need to. First off, it was a little bit expensive. We also felt that we wanted to leave a lot later than the arc does. We wanted to go to Cape Verde, which in the arc world is a little more expensive to do. So no, we are not doing the arc. We're doing our own arc. If you guys are crossing the Atlantic, you can join our own little rally. It will be friendly.
If you join, you might get a free soft shackle.
Although I've heard that the arc has a costume party in Las Palmas, but it's on the 20th. And on the 20th, we have our friends arriving. So I will not be able to crash the arc party, the costume arc party. I would have done that. I would have gone and crashed the costume arc party.
Yes, you would have.
I would have. Okay.
Let's see. Anything else, guys?
Oh, someone. I think a few people have asked if I get rid of the coffee machine. Of course, it is gone. I now have a beautiful coffee pot. It's a percolator, and I love it. It's amazing. It makes better coffee. I don't have to touch boiling water ever, and I can invite people over for coffee without having to make like 3 pour over. It's amazing.
Okay, here's a question. I think if I were doing big passage like you, I'd have 2 of everything, like alternators, starter motors. Do you have the same extensive spares?
If you have the space, that's great.
We do not.
We don't
have the space, so I'm pretty selective about what we have spares of. I try to find the critical systems. So, for instance, it's a sailboat. We need to keep water out, keep people on, keep the keel down, and keep the mast up. And then everything else is just butter on top of it. So anything related to those things are the critical things. And then there's other things like we need water to live. So I have an extra freshwater pump, and we also have a foot pump we can use in a big emergency. We have an extra cooking solution on board.
We have multiple.
Yeah, but then past that, I don't have an extra starter because you don't need an engine. It's nice to have. You don't need it. The alternator could be an issue, but we have solar, so we just would reduce our power. So there's ways around it, but the big things, the big 4, I guess, of water out, people on, mast up, keel down is what I would strive for, and then also being able to survive. So fresh water and cooking. So that's what we have.
That's a really good question. Cool. Oh yeah, because you are going to be reefing that sail. Maybe we missed the double-headed subject, but how are you going to reef the twin-head sail setup? Just throw them away together. Exactly. It is the easiest thing to do. It needs to be done early.
Well, hold on. We have not tried this yet.
We have not tried
we don't
it.
know if it's the easiest thing to do.
I think I've read, from what I've read, we've done a lot of research on the topic, but from what I've read, it's pretty easy. You have to do it early though, because when the sails are loaded, it gets really, really hard. But they just furl the exact same amount of sail area. So in theory, on paper, it's a smooth maneuver, but we shall see. Because you will help us reef that sail, these sails.
Rossi asks, how often were you guys on anchor versus marina when you were in the Med? We were on anchor 90% of the time, maybe more, just because the marinas were so expensive. We were in the marina when I had to go away for work. That was expensive. We would not have done that.
No.
We treated ourselves for 2 nights in Mahone.
Yes.
And we were on
Malta. No, Malta.
We
were on a mooring buoy.
We didn't pay for that. Somebody allowed us to use their mooring buoy. It was very nice. So we stayed on a marina, but we did anchor there as well.
Oh, we went to a marina in Lipari when we had friends.
Just for a couple nights. Yeah.
And we went to a marina in Catania.
Yeah.
Where we had friends.
Yeah, where we had friends there.
And
we were doing a
Gozo.
crew swap.
Like when we have crew, we typically try to stay at marinas because it's easier for everyone. The very nice thing that we did before we started the season in the Med was to install a water maker, and that has changed our lives. And in terms of our independence and our ability to not be at marina to top up the water tanks, it's been an absolute life changer. Same with the electricity. We have installed lithium batteries on board Polysil, and we have a lot of solar panels with a big inverter. So we can run pretty much any appliance we want. I mean, we still need to be very cautious about how we use power on board. But in terms of independence, we've, it's been great this year. And that's how we've been able to stay out of marinas, essentially.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I saw a question about your French, Ryan. Comment ça va?
Très bien. Et tout?
Oh, bah, dis donc, wow!
That's about all I can do.
Mais quel progrès!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oui. Let's just think here. I saw a question. The dinghy and our life raft. We will store our dinghy. We store our dinghy for long crossings unless we're doing just an overnight and we know the weather is going to be just perfectly flat. We will stow it away. Life raft has its own little spot. Yeah. So otherwise, if we're just hopping a couple hours between spots, we hang the dinghy off the back on the davits. But I don't like to do that while we're underway because too much can go wrong too fast, and it's not worth it. No. Plus, it gives us access to the swim platform, and we're catching fish.
Yes.
Otherwise, it gets a little snug down there.
Okay. I saw a question about the nastiest conditions. Yes, Thomas had, what are the nastiest conditions you experienced? We have not really experienced nasty conditions. When we crossed the North Sea between Amsterdam and Cherbourg in France, we did it all in one go. We went through the shallows at night, and shallow is less than 2 meters of water under our keel. That's really, really shallow at night in a very narrow channel. And we had wind over tide, so it was very choppy. The waves were steep and very close together, so our boat was bouncing all over. And on top of that, we had a bit of wind coming from behind. We had tried to reef the mainsail downwind, which is stupid, and our sail was stuck, so the boat was completely out of balance, and it was not fun at all. When we crossed Biscay, we had 30. That was my charger. I'm gonna plug that back. When we crossed Biscay, we had 4 meters waves with 30 knots wind. That wasn't very fun either, but looking back, it wasn't nasty. It got me scared. but I don't think that it was that
I
bad.
think that the worst thing that we really had was 45 knot winds on anchor in Ibiza.
Yeah.
That was not
because
it was like sustained.
Oh, it was not fun.
It wasn't fun, but at least we weren't out.
Yeah. Nastiest conditions, fireworks in Malta. That was very particular. Yeah. So for people who don't know what Aim is talking about, when we moored in Malta on this fantastic mooring buoy, which was in the middle of Valletta Harbor, which is a beautiful place, I get woken up at 8 a.m. by fireworks. 8 a.m. We're not talking about night. It's like in the morning. And Malta has this crazy festival. It's not a festival. It's called a feast. They celebrate saints, and they blow up fireworks throughout the entire day. At night, they're beautiful. They're amazing fireworks. I've never seen something like this. But in the middle of the day, when it echoes through the city, it is... yeah.
So somebody asked how many gallons of water I can make on full batteries. So if the batteries are full, we could, and our tanks are empty, we could fill. We have no. I've been in Europe too long. We have 300 liters, so just divided by 4. 300 liters of water tank space available, and we can put about 60 liters an hour in. Take about 5 hours, so it take about 250 amps out of our system, but that's with no solar. So 250, that's about a third of our batteries, so we could fill it up, but it would take 5 hours to do it, and the pump's a bit loud. So yeah, we can do it if the batteries are full, but we usually run the water maker every other day for about an hour and a half. It does fairly well for us.
Yeah. Okay, someone just said you don't do a lot of drone footage. So I actually do a lot of drone footage.
Yeah, she does actually. It's just sometimes things get lost.
No, it's like one time I think I accidentally formatted the SD card, and I lost pretty much everything, every drone clip that I had taken in 3 months. And I tried to recover them. I recovered some of them, but not all of them. It absolutely broke my heart because I really go out of my way to get drone footage, to have like good light conditions, to fly the drone from a place where I'm gonna have a good angle, and all this beautiful scenery, in particular from Valletta. Oh my God, I've lost that footage. I've lost footage from Sardinia, from Sicily. Oh my God, I've lost so much footage from Sicily. I've lost footage from us sailing. I mean, it was awful. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that happens. Now I back up my files, and I'm way more organized with everything.
Okay, so another question. My mother has asked.
Oh yeah, I saw that question. Hi, Mary.
When will you know you are done sailing?
That's deep.
That's deep. There are some days that I'm pretty sure I'm done sailing when I'm working on the boat.
Me too. That doesn't even need to be work on the boat. Like, let's be honest. Sometimes we're like, oh, we're sailing the boat.
We have sold the boat many, many times in the last 2 years. And there's days that we're quite serious about it. But it's funny because when you talk to other cruisers, everybody has the same experience that, how many times have you sold your boat?
Yeah.
I think... But the question's a good one, and I don't know. I think part of me feels like the longer we do this, the more we'll like just get into it. But eventually, we need to do something. Like, I don't want to do this my whole life either. So
I'm quite content. This life is when the highs are highs. It's a super cliche, but life is amazing. Like, most days, I wake up and I'm like, my life is so incredibly perfect, even though it's not, but it's amazing. I'm so lucky to be able to do this. And there are some days when it's so hard. It's really, really challenging. And it's not about the sailing conditions. It's not about the boat breaking. It's sometimes, like finances, things like that. our relationship, sometimes we're like, my God, like this is really hard. That's sometimes we're really tired because we can't sleep. So yeah, like the lows are low, but you know, the next day you go out and the weather is beautiful and you've met all these incredible people, and you forget everything about what you experienced when it was hard. So yeah, hardships are a part of it, but it's a beautiful life.
Most days. Some days.
All right. Did you see any other question? I haven't looked in a while. Steven is gonna go watch American football. That's our competition. Did you swear like Ryan when you lost that footage? No, I don't think I did when I lost the drone footage. Did I? I think I was pretty mad. I think I was really sad. I think I told you, I've lost drone footage. You didn't really pay attention. And then I think I gave you crap for not.
I get a lot of
Yeah,
it was a big fight.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it was
okay,
bad.
So then my mom has a follow-up here. Do you miss the family? Yes, of course. Sophie misses the family too.
Yes, a lot. Last year was amazing because we had the ability to go spend 3 months with family in Iowa. It was so great. We had so much fun. And this year we're not going to do that because we'll be at sea, and I already miss it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So any last questions? I know there's some we didn't get to, some we didn't answer, but I think a question for you guys, you can write it here or send us an email or text, but we would love to hear from you guys on what you would like to see when we cross the Atlantic. If there's things you're really interested in, or if there's like footage you want to see or topics you want us to discuss, we would love to take those suggestions, don't you think?
Mm-hmm. Oh, now we have a few questions. We'll stay as long as questions keep popping. So if you guys are into it, we'll
stay until I get hungry and I need to eat some dinner.
Oh, come on, it's only 7. Okay, food menu. I love that because I was cooking most days. If you guys follow us on Instagram and you've watched my stories, I was doing some epic meal prep earlier today after Ryan accidentally purchased 1.5 kilo of veal. And the veal needed to be cooked. So the food menu, more seriously, really depends on where we are and what's available for us to eat. Today I was cooking some French dishes because that's how I know how to cook veal. So I was doing a blanquette de veau, which I don't think you know what it is, but that's what I was cooking. It's a very nice stew, creamy sauce, lemony with mushrooms. Beautiful. I am also cooking a bœuf bourguignon as we speak. It is slowly cooking. I have made my own chocolate granola, which you've started to tap into. Is it good? Do you like it?
Mm-hmm. The granola is good.
I am also going to make our own little like nutty bars, like cereals bars. Those are really nice. We do a lot of fake Mexican food. So I will cook a lot of fajitas, chili con carne, Tex-Mex, tacos. We do a lot of that on board. When we have fish, we obviously have fresh fish. We eat a lot of soup. Yeah, we eat very well on board. You have to say, we eat very well.
We do eat well.
Mm-hmm. You're getting hungry?
No, I'm reading questions, so I'm a little. you're you're in the world into the chat. Yeah. So Ross says, for the Atlantic crossing, I really like the hour-long video of the Med crossing, so I'd like to see more of that. We'd actually talked about making like a small documentary, even
about what?
The crossing.
Oh yeah,
I don't know if we're gonna do that.
I have plans for the crossing. So here's what happened in terms of the video, guys. I can maybe talk about it. If you've been here all this time, it means that you're probably interested in those videos. So this season, the way that I've made those videos is that I was just walking around with the camera and capturing things. And then at the end of the day, I would look at the footage and be like, oh, okay, this is a cool story. And this is how I want to tell that story. But back in September, I realized that I was 2-3 months behind in what I was editing because I had so much, and I can't do everything. And also, it's not super fun to edit what has happened so far away in time. I think that for a lot of people it's okay, but I really like to talk about what's going on now because it's now. So I'm all caught up on my timeline now, and the way that I want to talk about the Atlantic crossing is to talk about what's like happening more in real time. I'm gonna try to do that. For the Atlantic crossing preparations, I've also made a list of videos that I really want to do. So those are like very specific topics, like what's in our med kit, how we do provisioning for an Atlantic crossing, how we get ourselves mentally ready. Today in this live, we have talked a lot about like catastrophe scenarios. But all those things, all those scenarios that we think of and how we mitigate them or how we avoid them. And I like this way of making video because it's much more what's going on right now. What is it that we're thinking about? And those are also questions that I was asking myself, before we went on this big sailing adventure. So I think that it will be a fun way to make videos of Atlantic crossing.
We are going to do more tech videos. Some people have asked about that now. We have a whole list of stuff, but it's a challenge. Just all the things that we have to do, and then plus just some normal jobs to keep the boat going.
Yeah.
So we have a list. We've even recorded some, but just finding time to edit. The thing you'll probably see more of is tech blog posts on our website, because those are a bit easier for me to plug out and put up, but we'll still continue doing the videos. And we've even thought about doing some tech live discussions where it's just 100% focused on tech. So if people are interested in that, let me know and we can schedule up some of those and have them focused on different topics. So because I think that'd be fun.
Just to give you also a little insight in how those tech videos are created. So typically when you see a more like sailing travel type vlog, I'm 100% working on that. When we do a tech video, the work is pretty much 50-50 between Ryan and I. Ryan will write everything, so what he wants to explain. And then I have a look at it and I'm like, okay, this we need to talk a little more about because I'm not even sure that I understand, or we need to restructure like in this way so that I can then edit. Then we film that video. Filming a tech video usually takes a lot of time because there is a lot of repeating going on. I love you. And then I edit them. Those tech videos are like pretty heavy in editing because of all the graphics that you see. And I mean, from my perspective as a creator, I like to add those graphics because I think that I'm a visual person, so I like to see what you talk about. So yeah, those videos take a lot of time to produce, way longer than the travel or sailing style video. But we love making them because it's a very unique way in which we connect with you guys on tech stuff, and we've really enjoyed it. It's super cool.
Yeah, it just takes a bit of work, but it's fun. Somebody asked, will we have internet during the crossing? So we'll have quote internet through our Iridium Go, but it's literally just for downloading weather and for us to make small blog posts. But we can't do any video, anything, or pictures are almost impossible. So yes, we know Uma did a daily blog post. I am guessing that was all uploaded after the fact and not over Satcom while they were actually sailing, because that would be crazy expensive. So yeah, we've talked about doing something like that as well, daily blog posts or things.
It's just it takes a lot of time. Let's talk about behind the scene stuff. But a month ago, like Ryan was really getting into podcasting, and we have actually recorded a few episodes of podcasting, like Atlantic Preps podcasts. but those have never really seen the light of the day.
And we kind of stopped.
Yeah, we kind of stopped. But yeah, I mean, that's how it goes with creative projects sometimes. Like sometimes you have to try before you commit. Like just the same way that with this vlog, I tried to put one every week and it worked really well. It was really awesome and it still is. And then I committed. The podcasting, it's not working now, but maybe in the future work a little more. But yeah, someone asked, I thought it was a good question. Oh yeah, would be great to see some passage planning videos. Yeah, so that's awesome. Like guys, if there are topics that you would like us to tackle, we can't promise 100% that we can cover them, but definitely drop us an email. Like you guys are our biggest source of inspiration. And even though we don't always do dedicated videos on the topics that we get suggested, a lot of time what I will try to do is to answer that question like in a video by showing a particular aspect or like answering the question like in a video. So yeah, like send us email, send us Instagram direct messages with what you would like to see. We like love that. That's awesome.
So we plan on leaving here, Gibraltar.
Where are you
somebody's asked what our time schedule looks like. We plan on leaving here at the end of next week, maybe, depending on the weather. The weather's a bit wonky just outside of Gibraltar right now, so we need to catch a good window, and then we'll hit Lanzarote. We're going to go to Lanzarote in the Canaries. We're going to do a crew swap there, and our new crew comes, when did you say, the 20th?
The 20th.
21st? Yeah, early 20s, and then sometime after that, we will depart and head down to Cape Verde. Our crew leaves us on the 6th of December. We will hang out in Cape Verde, I think, for a few days at least, and just check it out. And then, I don't know, we've talked about maybe trying to get to the islands maybe around New Year's. So it'll take us a couple weeks to do it. And yeah, we'll see how she goes. But that's the rough timeline. Someone
asked if there is a lot of outtakes in the tech videos due to curses when fingers get knocked. Yes, there are a lot of outtakes in those tech videos.
All of our videos.
Yeah, I think if you're... So for our patrons, we have sometimes we make little outtakes, and I can like point to one in particular where like you were installing the lithium batteries, and I did an outtake of that video because that project was so crazy bananas.
For what? The lithium batteries?
The lithium batteries. I did a little outtake on the lithium batteries project.
That's right.
So yeah, we do have a lot of that. There was one. Oh no.
If you guys have last questions, because we're starting to lose some viewers here. Quite a few.
That's still a huge amount of people, right? I didn't even want to look at it. It makes me self-conscious. No, why did you do this?
Fastest cruise speed we've ever had. I think we've had the boat speed over the ground. Probably we had it over 10 knots. In the Channel Islands. That was partly because of wind, and also the current there is crazy fast. So we had speed over ground at 10 knots. We had friends with a Beneteau 45 just the other day.
It's 45.
Yeah, but still, they were going, what did she say? They had it up to 16 knots. So we have seen probably 9, I'd say, under full sail without tons of current, but we're typically cruising around between 6 and 7 if we have good winds, and then on the motor it's about 5. So I can run faster than that, unfortunately.
Why are we registered in Sweden? That's because we are Swedish citizens. Ta-da! We have lived in Sweden most of our adult life. I moved to Sweden 11 years ago when I was 22, and that's Sweden is our home. Just as much as France is my home and the US are your home.
Yep. So
that's why we're registered in Sweden. It's our home.
And that's where we bought the boat.
Yeah. How tricky is sailing the North Sea above the Netherlands up to Sweden?
No, it's not too tricky.
It's okay.
It's like everywhere else. If you have some patience and wait for a weather window that you're comfortable with, it's fine. We did not go around Denmark. We went through the Kiel Canal. So that's an option. That was quite interesting, but I think
yeah, the Kiel Canal was fun.
Yeah, but you can always go up around Denmark as well. So that's good. Is our battery system 12 or 24? Our whole boat system, electrical system, is 12. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Hi, Simon. No, we're not taking people on the Atlantic crossing. And what sweet treats will you take? I make them. I love, when I have time, when I have the mental space, I love to bake on the way because it's such a fun challenge. So last time I baked those chocolate fondant, which were amazing. I like to bake cookies. So now we have some extra dough for the passage for cookies.
Yeah, we have one right over there.
Yep.
We'll be having that once we get off this.
Mm-hmm. Once we get off this.
How was the buying process with buying our boat?
With the Beneteau, it was fast. We didn't know it at the time that we bought our boat. We were frustrated because we had put offers on a few boats and we had trouble having someone accepting our offers. Maybe they were a little low. But no, we started to look for a boat in January of 2016, and we signed the paper for our boat early March 2016. So that was not even 2 months.
I would say if I went back, like I'm happy with our boat, but if I went back and do it again, I would take a lot more time looking for a boat. We went in really fast, like we need to buy a boat, season's going to start, we want to have a boat. And we pretty much kind of just landed on this style of Beneteau, and we're like, let's go for this.
Yeah.
In hindsight, though, I would have, if I do it again and buy a used boat, I would spend a lot of time going around and looking at boats. But now I know what I'm looking for, and before we didn't know what we're looking for.
We have also experienced many different boats because now we have friends because we see boats, we're around boats. But for example, we have those people coming with us between Gibraltar and the Canaries and Cape Verde, and they're looking for boats. And I think that it's great for them to have the opportunity to experience our type of boat and make themselves an opinion of if they like it or not, or what they would have different on their own boat. And I think that if you're in the process of buying a boat, like do that. Just like go on boats, crew on boats, and experience boats. It's a great way to learn. We did not do that.
We did not. But in hindsight, we would have. So that would be my biggest suggestion.
Make some videos underwater on the other side of the Atlantic. Oh, yes, there will be plenty of that.
I love this comment. I hope you're not relying on fish for your food on the crossing. I was actually saying to Sophie yesterday, I was like, let's just not provision. Let's just fish. It's survival.
I question.
Then we have to catch it. But no, we're not. That's not what our plan is.
Mm-hmm. Being one of the only channels to take safety so seriously, can you do a video on practicing man overboard skills? Yeah, actually, that would be a fun one. We don't often practice man overboard skill. It kind of happens accidentally when we drop something in the water, and we're like, all right, man overboard practice. And then we go. That happened to us right as we were in Almerimar. Like we were getting in Almerimar after 6 days at sea.
I dropped the...
And you dropped, I don't even, like, I don't remember
we have these like little like holders for drinks.
Holder.
It attaches the thing, and I knocked it off, and it went overboard.
And it's foam, so it floats. And I'm like, yeah, we're not letting that one pollute the ocean. I was at the helm. I was like, no, we're getting it, and we did.
But yeah, I think the whole safety thing. Actually, stand by for some news on maybe some other projects coming with related to safety on board and seamanship and risk. So stand by for that. There's a project we're working on.
Oh, I like this question. Do you follow other sailing channels, and which one are your favorite? So yes and no. We don't follow a lot of sailing channels, but we love following our friends, our sailing channel friends. So we have Mothership Adrift. We're really good friends with those guys. Sailing Vessel Impavidus. We're also really good friends with them. We have German-speaking channels. Sailing Insieme and Sailing Girasole. They're really amazing people. Who else do we know? I'm sure I'm missing 100 of them. Who do we have? Well, 59 North Sailing, obviously.
That's more podcasts.
Yeah,
but yeah.
But he does a little. Andy does a little bit of video.
Few, yeah.
Who else? We have like this list. So if you go on our channel, we have a little list of our friends. That's to the right of our videos, and that's where I put like all the channels that we follow because they're our friends and we love them and we love what they do. Even if it's in German and I don't understand anything.
Oh, it's good stuff.
Yeah.
So
you can throw Ryan overboard. Yeah, technically I could, but
she's probably wanted to a few times.
I like my polar bear.
Yeah.
Wait, one of them. What is the local time where you are located?
7:30.
Oh wow, it's 7:30. Yeah, that's. Did you fart?
No, that was my foot on this.
Oh, sorry guys. We should probably wrap it up.
Yeah, we should.
What do you think, guys? Like you've been with us for a very long time now.
Oh, here's a good question. What is on your wish list for things to make life more fun, comfortable?
Oh, that's such a good question. Okay, water maker is one.
Well, we have that though. I think we both have decided, and it's very rare for me to want things that clear the boat. I would like to have a washing machine.
Okay, no, but that's not fun comfort. Okay,
it is a comfort. It's a comfort thing.
Okay, barbecue.
Oh, we have that.
Barbecue, yes.
It's on our wish. This is our wish list.
Barbecue is one. Subboards are amazing. So good. It's when you get to an anchorage and you have all these beautiful things around you. It's and you have all those boats. It's not super nice to just like swim to the caves. Having a subboard is.
But we have that too. This is a wish list.
Oh,
this is a wish list. So my wish is I wish A, that we had a washing machine, and 2, that we had the space for it, because right now we just don't. But I think in our next boat, we definitely are getting a washing machine.
I love how you say that. When I mentioned that at the beginning of the year,
it's just such a pain to do laundry when you're out. So it is. It's such a pain.
No, we're I don't know. What do we? I don't know.
Yes. What about solar cookers? I would take a solar cooker. I have one picked out, but I gotta prioritize spending. So yes, a solar cooker would be awesome.
Not only spending, but space.
Like, they pack up. They folds up. It's just about this long.
Where would we put it?
I think solar cooker. Yeah. So. Yeah, that's on my wish list, but you didn't. You described things that we have, not on your list.
Oh yeah, rigging doctor. We may actually meet them because they're really close to us now. They're in Tangier, and they were going to come to Gibraltar, so we may actually cross paths very soon.
Yeah. We don't need a dryer though, because the world is our dryer.
Delos. Yeah, we do follow Delos, mostly because Delos. Oh, I have to tell you this. Oh, that's a cool story. Okay, so last year Delos went to the Antarctic with our friends Andy and Mia on Isbjørn, and they are going to release a 3-part documentary on their Arctic journey. Yeah, Arctic, not Antarctic.
Arctic,
yes. I did not meet the Delos guys, but apparently they had like a jolly good time with Andy and Mia in the Arctic around Svalbard. But I have some footage of mine in that documentary, and I can't tell you more about it right now. My face isn't in it, my voice is in it, my thick French accent is definitely in it. So when you guys check out the Arctic documentary of Delos, there is a little bit of my footage in there. I let you guess which one. Are you planning to visit Annapolis? Yes, I really would like to visit Annapolis. It looks like a very cool city, and Yeah, the boat show this year it sounded amazing. I really wish I was there.
Yeah, we're gonna probably, I think next year, since we'll be on the other side of the Atlantic, we will do a few boat shows because they're always fun.
Ooh, Emma has been in Svalbard twice and on a sailboat there too. That's cool. I really would like to go to Svalbard on a sailboat. That'd be amazing. Is
merch? Oh, yes. I was wondering. I was wondering what the word was. Yeah, we sell these hats. They're on our website. That's the only merch that we have.
Yeah, we don't really do merch.
We don't really do merch. We are conscious of the environment. So we don't, for our patrons, we don't do like we have
koozies or
we don't do koozies and little keychains and things like that.
We do stickers because stickers are fun.
We do stickers and hats.
Yeah,
we do have on our website.
We don't have a lot of hats left.
We're running out of hats.
We're running out of hats. And also, like, guys, when you order hats from our website, you have to know that they're on the boat with us. And we send them ourselves from the local post office where we are at the moment. We can't go to the post office. So there's been time when like we didn't have a post office near the boat for like 4 weeks. People have been waiting for their hats for very long, and I felt awful about it. But yeah, so it's like very, very mom and pop.
Yeah. Yes, and everyone's reminding me that we will also have soft shackles available after the Atlantic.
Obviously,
but they're currently not available. Maybe available for pre-purchase.
No, don't do this. No.
So a couple more questions. I think we'll wrap it up. Any plans to stop in Hawaii? That would be cool.
Oh, yes.
But we would love to stop everywhere. We'll see how that all goes.
Yeah, we'll see. For now, we don't even know if we're going to be able to go to the US at the end of the season next year.
No, that's true because of your visa.
Yeah.
No, and that goes into one question. Do I have any issues staying in Europe longer than 6 months? I don't. I am a European citizen now, so I actually have a Swedish passport as well. So I do not. Sophie is the one with the visa issues, not me, surprisingly.
Yep. So. Surprisingly. Yes. Can you maybe get family to do all your sendings for you?
We actually have had my parents send some hats from the States.
From the US. We left a bunch of hats at Ryan's parents' house when we left the US back in February.
But they're all gone.
But they're gone now. So, yeah.
So
again, like the logistics, the supply chain, and everything it's very, very mom and pop.
There are these
literally mom and pop.
There are these like merch print on demand things, but the thing with the hats are these aren't like screen printed on. This is my shameless plug number 2. These aren't screen printed on. These are actually embroidered, so they're quite nice. But most print on demand places don't do embroidery, so we had them made.
That's like the other thing with merch is that if one day we do merch, we don't want to do like the small things. We'd like to do things that we actually think about and think through, things that are useful and that have meaning. So and it takes time to develop those things, and it's an investment. So for now,
we only have so many hours, and we would still like to enjoy the places we go.
And I spend a lot of time editing my videos, which I love. So we'll see. But maybe in the future, soft checkle, definitely. All right. We should probably go now. What do you guys think? Is it time?
I think we'll wrap it up.
Should we wrap it up? Well, guys, thank you so much for being with us tonight. This is so much fun. I love doing those live sessions. It's this community is the reason why I love doing those videos so much, and I continue to make them. I don't know how long of a break I'll take. A couple of weeks, 2-3 max. But yeah, like you guys inspire me every week to produce new fun stuff. So thank you so much for that. Thank you for all the support that we get from you, from our patrons, but also from our family, and from the people who are not our patrons but have helped us and welcomed us in so many ways. It's been a truly humbling year in terms of how much this community has given us. So thank you so much for
great.
that. Yeah. You're really amazing. Thank you.
Great. Well, I think we call it quits. Happy Sunday.
Beer!
Those in the U.S. can go enjoy your American football. Yes. We are going to eat some dinner and clean the kitchen.
Oh, yeah. I have some more cooking to do. All right. Thank you so much for being with us, guys. Love you so much.
See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.